Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out a very interesting speaker. And the one we're going to check out is the AirPulse AU4. This is not a cheap speaker. It does come in retailing at $279, although on Amazon it looks like you could pick it up for about $229. And the reason I wanted to check this speaker out is it looks like AirPulse is a sub-company of Edifier. Now Edifier makes some of my favorite speakers. They make some of my favorite desktop and bookshelf type speakers. I've always been pleased with Edifier, so I thought maybe a sub-company would be something that's kind of delivering the same thing. So that was the reason I wanted to check these out. Now the AU4 kind of looks like a very small guitar amp. As far as dimensions, it is a 6-inch by 6-inch by 8-inch. So it's not, extremely large, but it's not necessarily tiny either. Now it comes in at 6 pounds, so it does have a little bit of weight to it. But what I do like is that it has knobs and switches. Again, a lot like a guitar amp. They're using high quality materials, which again, definitely makes this feel like a very premium speaker. It's wrapped in leather. The grill on the front is metal, and even the control panel up top is made out of aluminum. And you can see that the knobs and the switches all look very nice. None of it feels cheap, and I like the actual physical buttons. I like to have that analog feel, especially when it comes to speakers. Now, as far as some of the tech, and one thing that is really going to lose a lot of people is this speaker really isn't portable. It requires being plugged in because there's no internal battery. I think that's definitely a downfall with this speaker because most people like to go from room to room, or if you're going to go outside, you like to be able to take your speaker outside to be able to use it. And in this price range, a lot of the competition, that's what it does. You're able to carry it around. It has like an IP rating, and that's something that the AirPulse AU4 does not have. Now, what it does have is Bluetooth 5.1, so it's not even the newest Bluetooth tech. It does support aptX HD, so that is definitely a solid Bluetooth codec. So I was impressed that it was able to support that. As far as different kind of connections, you do have an auxiliary plug-in. So if you want to just plug anything in that has a 3.5mm plug-in, you can use that. There is a line-in plug-in, which uses the 1/4-inch adapter. This is where you would be able to plug in, let's say a guitar, anything that uses that 1/4-inch adapter. So it's nice that it has that versatility. And if you are interested in checking these out, it's available in 2 different colors. It's available in a blue, which is the one that you see here, but it's also available in white. And normally I would say I wouldn't recommend a white speaker because it's going to get dirty easily. But if it's a speaker you can only use inside your home, that's probably not going to be an issue anyway. Now, as far as the actual speaker itself, it does have a 4-inch speaker inside that is using a built-in DSP and an amp, which is pushing the speaker all the way to 35 watts of power. Now, 35 watts is not very powerful for a speaker this size. There's some other speakers out there. In fact, I even looked up a couple, and the one that kind of stood out is the JBL Party Box. Now, this one comes in at $199, so it's already cheaper, and it goes up to 100 watts. So there's more power, more portability, and a cheaper cost in the JBLs. It just doesn't look as premium as the AirPulse AU4. So maybe it just comes down to personal preference. I don't know, but I kind of understand what they're going for with this speaker. It's again more of an elegant look compared to other Bluetooth speakers, but that's going to be quite the trade-off if you're looking just at speakers in general. Now, like I said earlier, there's no internal battery, and really the only thing that they've included in the box is the power cable that you're gonna need to have plugged into this speaker the whole time. Now, the input on the speaker is actually located on the side. The look and the design of the speaker overall, again, I'm very happy with. It does at least make you feel like you're getting your money's worth when it comes to the looks, but when it comes to the sound, this is where things kind of just go all over the place. Now, there's no app that these work with to be able to tune them, but luckily there are bass and treble knobs all located up top on that control panel. So you can just dial in the sound that way that you want just right on the speaker itself. That is a huge plus because sometimes it's just kind of cumbersome to have to go to an app to kind of be able to adjust your EQ at all. But I am going to say this, the volume on these, even at max volume, I feel like gets pretty loud. It just doesn't get as loud as other speakers in this price range. Again, JBL has a lot to offer that has more volume output, more bass output, and the bass in general when it comes to the AU4 feel like it gives the sound signature of these an overall warm feel. Feel like the bass kind of takes over when it comes to the mids and the treble, where, I don't feel like the mids get lost in the mix. I just don't feel like they have as much of a forward presence as I like with other speakers. And kind of the same thing with the treble. The treble just doesn't have as much detail because the bass, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily destroy everything. I just feel like it kind of holds it back from the potential of what the speaker can do. And that's even with dialing the bass back with the bass knob up top. I do not feel like these adjust to those bass, mids, and treble knobs very well. So I still think no matter what, you're still getting a similar sound signature as the way that it's tuned out of the box. And so I just kind of felt like it lacked the overall sound quality in something that I would expect that, retail wise is already going to cost you almost $300. So even at the $229, I still think there's some better options out there. I think this speaker should probably be closer to about $150. I know they use premium materials. I know you're paying for that. I know with it being a sub company of another company, two companies kind of have their hands in the same thing. So it is going to cost you sometimes a little bit more for that. But for you guys, the actual consumer, at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you're getting the most out of your money. And at this price range, I feel like there's so many better options out there. Again, I keep going back to JBL, but you could go with the JBL Charge. You can go with the Party Box at a lesser cost right now because it's on sale for $199 and get basically almost 3 times the output as far as power goes. So I like the approach. I like the design. I like the analog look to it. I do not like that the AU4 is not portable. I don't like that it feels like it's being held back, only having 35 watts of power. And I do feel like the power aspect of it, I think it's just pushing the low end a little too much where you can't really enjoy the mids and the treble. Now that's just personal preference, but from a sound standpoint, I think, especially considering how many speakers I've tried, it just feels like it's lacking. But guys, that's my video on the AirPulse AU4s. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.